UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The Journey program on UBC TV is brought to you by Plascon, color your world. About red, about blue, it's your turn to shine in Plascon Paint and win the 12K edition. Buy Plascon Paint worth 100K, get a scratch card and SMS the code to 7197. Not only will you win instant airtime, but you could take home 1 million shillings daily, a share of 4 million shillings each week, or a brand new motorbike with fuel worth 100K. Tune in every Sunday at 6:55 p.m. on NBS, Bukeda TV or Sanyuka TV to catch all the colorful action. Terms and conditions apply. Plascon, color your world.
Good evening to all the viewers of the UBC program, the Journey program, which I'm delighted to be part of tonight. Allow me to start by presenting myself. I'm Massimiliano Mazzanti, the ambassador of Italy to Uganda, Rwanda and Burundi. This is a journey that I started in October 2019. I went through multiple difficulties, the COVID period, the following actually Ebola one, but here we are. And as an embassy, we are doing every day our best to assist our Ugandan brother and sister, and of course to develop at the best our bilateral cooperation, both economic, political, and in any possible field of bilateral interest and cooperation. Allow me to start by depicting a little bit the journey of Italy in this country, which has been, it's an historical relationship, very, very close. It starts 117 years ago, when the Duke of Abruzzi, a member of the royal family of Italy, the Savoia family, visited Uganda, and in his wide exploration of the Pearl of Africa, he was the first one to climb the Ruwenzori mountain. This is the reason why the highest peak of the mountain, the so-called Margherita Peak, brings the name of the queen mother of that time of the royal family, the Savoia family. And Queen Margherita was the aunt, actually, of Duke of Abruzzi, and that's the reason why he wanted to honor, with a piece of its own personal history and relationship, the highest peak of the fantastic Ruwenzori mountain. He continued, the story continues with an incredible journey of the Combonian fathers. Our religious priests came to Uganda in 1910, 113 years ago. The first thing they did was actually establishing in the northern part of Uganda, where we have a traditional history with local populations, and the Acholi, of course, and many others. I'm very happy that actually Acholi had the honor of being recognized through the celebration of the the Day of Independence of Uganda in Kigum. And eventually they established in the 1930s roughly in Karamoja, another region that represents today, so many decades later, a priority of the Italian government. In 1956 we had other religious people arriving. It was the time of Giuseppe Ambrosoli and the fantastic saga and creation of the Kalongo Hospital. In 1958, QAM, the Doctors for Africa, and I could name all of them, and there's so many NGOs and religious orders who came to the country with only one thing in mind: participating without any. We were never part, as you know, of the colonial history of the country. We were part instead of the educative process and the support to developing health in the country since then. And actually the Italian Cooperation Development nowadays, which is AICS, the Italian Agency for Cooperation, remains a sort of point of reference of that kind of legacy. Our total dedication nowadays when we do cooperation aid is education from one side, but mainly health. As a recognition of this, I was mentioning before the incredible story of our religious orders, in particular the Combonian orders. Comboni were part of the education of the country, but if you talk to most of the ministers of the country, the older generation of the bush warriors, they were all educated by the Combonian fathers. They still bear a clear memory. Some of them were saved by our religious people in difficult times of the history of this country, while it was, of course, passing through its colonial period and eventually post-colonial and getting finally independence. I'm very happy that we had the possibility in Kigum to celebrate the 61st anniversary of the independence of Uganda, of the Republic of Uganda, with His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. What I would like to add is that we are still part of the legacy. Italy has been channeling last year, in an agreement with the government of Uganda, 10 million euros dedicated entirely to the development of health infrastructures in Karamoja. It is part of a program that wants somehow to recognize the legacy, but addresses the most urgent priorities which have been defined by His Excellency the President. Karamoja is certainly among them. Lots of people in Karamoja, they have basic notions of Italian language because they come from that kind of education, and it's pretty. We're pretty proud to continue on that line by developing finally one of the biggest gaps in the region, which is represented by health infrastructures. We had a previous program of 4.2 million euros dedicated entirely to the construction of 68 staff houses for medical staff and nurses. As you know, doctors, they don't go in a region if they don't have the possibility of having, of course, accommodation, suitable accommodation. It's part of the process to upgrade and increase the presence of doctors and nurses in Karamoja, a region that is passing through historical clan difficulties, but we are more than persuaded that through the leadership of Uganda many problems have been solved before. This one is part of a process that will eventually end in a pacification. We are very confident of the region and eventually bringing in stability and growth. But we want to be part of the growth of the region. So the 4.2 million allowed us in the previous years to build up 68 staff houses. We are going to build now with 10 million euros, 72 more, so a total of 140 staff houses, which will be spread out in all districts of Karamoja. All health centers will be upgraded. I had this conversation very often with the MPs in Parliament coming from Karamoja, and they were very sensitive to the fact that we identified exactly every possible district to have an homogeneous development of the health infrastructures. And eventually, of course, ambulances and other possible support to hospital, including Matani. I cite with Matani with pride once again, and I'm proud of it because Matani is another creation of the Combonian sisters, as it is, as you know, Lachor Hospital in 1959, and then of course the saga of the Koti family in making of it the most important and the point of reference for healthcare in the northern part of the country. And eventually, I wish, as we are talking about health, I'm proud also of the emergency reality in Entebbe. Is the latest one. Entebbe Hospital is for pediatric surgery, is one of the main ones in the continent, in the whole African continent, together with the one for cardiac surgery in Sudan. A region that now has been affected, unfortunately, by the instability. Thank God Uganda doesn't represent that kind of country. We wish and we want to be part of the growth of the country because growth brings stability. And I must say and commend once again His Excellency, the President, for his open refugee policies, which are part of the second pillar of our supports to the country, and of course for its stabilization missions through its soldiers, both UPDF, of course, against ADF in Congo. But I wish to remind once again the role that UPDF played and Ugandan soldiers played in the stabilization of Somalia in AMISOM. Uganda is the most important pillar in supporting refugees in Africa. Is the first reality, 1.5 million refugees. We commend once again Uganda, the Republic of Uganda, and its vision and the vision of His Excellency the President for this. What we want to do is, of course, to support these efforts in terms of stabilization towards Congo by participating through also UN agencies with 1.5 million euros to the emergency support of refugees coming from Congo. We have different programs. Just to finish a little bit on depicting what we do with the cooperation aid. Another one, the 1.5 million once again, was in recent times the cure of the eye, so ophthalmological actually support in the northern part, in Arua and Kikgum, financed entirely by us and implemented by an Italian NGO, QAM. And we want to continue to be part of the solution in terms of development of healthcare. In the last 4 years I've been here, I've seen quite a revolution in terms of healthcare, also induced by necessities, and I'm citing once again COVID instead of Ebola, but tremendous progresses have been made by the Ministry of Health of Uganda and the government in general in tackling pandemics in general, diseases, and in terms of reaction capacities to tackle possible future ones. And we want to, again, to be part of it. But we are also part of the economic fabric of the country, and we have different sectors in which we are developing together. Of course, Italy is one of the major exporters of machinery in the world. Agricultural machinery of Italy is #1 in the world. We are defining an agreement with the Ministry of Agriculture to create what we call the agricultural machinery hubs that will be available in different parts of the country. We will identify together with the Ministry of Agriculture the suitable places in terms to create hubs where we put machinery that will be available for common people, for all agricultural workers, especially for more small consortiums that very often, or small collective of women that very often they don't have the machinery, and of course there are enough resources to be able to develop their cultivation techniques through Italian machinery. It will be basic and important machinery, from tractors to other kind of devices that help, of course, laborate the soil. And this will be a sort of permanent window, agricultural machinery window, that we conduce together with the Federunacoma, that is the Italian Association of Agricultural Machinery Producers. What we want is to benefit from our experience and success in the agricultural sector, another sector that has been identified by His Excellency and which employs 70% of the youth population of the country. We want, of course, to be part of that development.
The Johnny program on UBC TV.
Come and shine in Plascon Paint and win the Twake edition. Buy Plascon Paint worth 100,000 shillings. Get a scratch card and SMS the code to 7197. Not only will you win instant airtime, but you could take home 1 million shillings daily, a share of 4 million shillings each week, or a brand new motorbike with fuel worth 100,000 shillings. Terms and conditions apply. Plascon, color your world.
The Johnny program on UBC TV.
From one side, Italy is welcoming more and more with its policies young Africans from Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi to be part of the business environment, whether participating to courses in formation in startups, and we have a specific program of that with Startup Africa road trip, It's an incubator that we finance as an embassy in this country to support young start-uppers in Uganda to develop their own skills and to see how we deal with startups and small, medium enterprises in our country. These programs, plus the trade fairs and exhibitions, and the programs and of course scholarship we grant to most meritorious students in the country, periodically in the country, especially now with our youth relationship, historical relationship with Makerere University, opens the gates of the visa issue. It's impossible, of course, to get to Italy without a visa, so applications are incredibly growing in the country, in all my 3 countries, but Uganda is certainly not an exception. We are facing sometimes difficulties, not much in the selection of the people that is meritorious to participate as startups, because these are part of mechanisms that we finance already. Those ones are definitely supported and helped to get a visa. What we recommend to any Uganda willing to visit, before talking about tourism in Uganda, in tourism in Italy and the links, is to remember that the visa process is a very important one from every point of view, especially in terms of genuinity of documents presented. Most of the requests are rejected because documents are fake. Normally it's the bank report of each individual that is altered to meet the necessities and of course the pre-requirements of my consulate. This said, we are always happy to welcome young Ugandans in Italy, and we believe that having them travel into my country is part of that inter-exchange that create no border mentality. We need really to overcome a national approach to anything, even when it's about business, when it's about education, when it really to support joint development in terms of education and any possible small business and small medium enterprises, which we have 6 million small medium enterprises in Italy that we consider them our oil, and we believe that it's the fabric of our economy is very close to the Ugandan one, which is basically or micro or small medium enterprises. I'm part of the board also of the platform of the Uganda platform, so we try really with the Italian Trade Agency here in Uganda to support mature relationship between our entrepreneurs. When we talk, of course, about visa, we cannot forget to mention tourism. Italy is one of the main destinations in the world. It has the highest number of UNESCO certified patrimony, UNESCO patrimony certified sites in the world. We are number 1. Everybody wants to, of course, to go to Italy to marry. And many Ugandans ask actually for marriage in Italy. I believe it's normally they choose between our best cities, Venezia, Florence, Lake Como, Rome, my city, and many others. It's an experience that we wish, of course, to support within always this legal framework I was mentioning before. We'll be more than happy to show what tourism, to give our perspective on Italian tourism as an example of to the Pearl of Africa. I must say that with my friends of UTB and the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, we have lots of projects and programs in common. What we are trying to do is to fill a gap that we feel has to be filled in Uganda. It's called marketing. You cannot, we come from the same mistake. As we knew we had practically almost 60% of the UNESCO certified patrimony sites in the world, we thought that we could simply eventually we didn't need to market the country because it was marketing by itself. Nothing markets by itself. You need really to do marketing, and we're doing this together. I wished also to stress the fact that when we talk about your national parks, which are fantastic, and I want all Italians and even all Ugandans, if they didn't see them before, to visit national parks. I was in Queen Elizabeth, Kidepo, Ziwa with the rhinos, Murchison and many others, Lake Mburo, you got pearls. Those pearls have to be marketed. That's what we're doing. There's few Italian agencies which are in contact, and companies which are in contact now with Uganda. We want to make bilateral agreements and bringing tourists to see something unique in Uganda, which is the gorillas. The other way around, we want Ugandans to visit our unique things, from the Colosseum and the gladiator history of Rome, and to the many attractions that are part of the desire of the common Ugandan tourist. We have, of course, as I was saying, our boundaries. Those boundaries are that we want to promote the country. We want Ugandans to be part of our system, of our social fabric, of our touristic fabric, of our industry, but we want them to do it legally. So illegal immigration is nowadays an issue all over the world. This is involving a little bit less Uganda, certainly more other parts of the African continent. What we want is to continue possibly to support legal immigration and eventually have our Ugandan friends visit our country. One of the main issues I've been facing in the last 4 years of activity in this country is, once again, a little bit of relaxation in terms of presentation of documents, for example, for visa, but in general terms for anything else. Lots of the demands we receive in terms of visa, they come from the fact that my city, Rome, hosts the Vatican. And of course, as you know, is the Holy See is where the Pope is. I must say that is one of the personalities most requested at every possible level of Ugandan government, population. Anybody wants to see the Pope. Anybody wants to be part of that moment of touching the Holy Father. And I must say that is requested by every possible religion. It's not limited to Christians. It's not limited to Catholic. Is something that comes as a request by everybody, and it's part of the nurturing environment that brings, yes, of course, religion in a positive light in terms of tourism and in terms of identity of a country. So come to see the Vatican, come to see my city, Rome, certainly come to see the rest of Italy. You remember Venice too. What we are now been facing sometimes is in terms of challenges. I already highlighted the difficulties I had sometimes with the visa documents. Please don't present wrong documents, and above all, don't fall into the traps of so many agencies, outside agencies, promising you to give you a visa. They're not able to give you a visa. They're only taking your money. We had innumerable reports of frauds. We don't want our Ugandan brothers and sisters to fall into the net of illegal request of visa or illegal immigration. Don't do that, because they will take your money and they will disappear. It happens, unfortunately, more often than ever, and the only way to get the visa is through the embassy. So rely on us. Ask for us. We will see your documents. If you are entitled, we'll be more than happy to welcome you in Italy. So don't forget actually to come to Italy, though. As we were saying, it's the country of the Vatican, it's the country of Venice, Rome, Florence, Milan. There's innumerable things you can do, you can see, not to forget, without forgetting, of course, the power, our soft power, that is culinary products. Food, Italian food is one of the best in the world. You know that very well. It's a point of reference. We are not only the country of pasta and pizza. We created actually. We are trendsetters and points of reference for the most important plates in the world. You know very well that pasta, pizza, and many other things. Fantastic wines for those who drink, of course, wine responsibly all the time, please, and high quality food and anything you can imagine about. That's why Italy is first destination in the world for many other countries, starting from United States, where tourists actually designed Italy recently as #1 destination. We believe that Ugandans have anything they need to appreciate more and more our country, what we can offer, and we can go in this trip literally together. We want you to be part of the magnificent part of what actually Italy can offer to any of you, but we want to be part also of the fusion with you. We don't want just to offer Italy, we want you to be part of the Ugandan-Italian experience, whether in Italy or in Uganda. We did the same when we presented the Italian week, the Italian food week here in these last 4 years. I always selected and celebrated fusion. It's not only Italy, it's not only Uganda, it's us together. This leads me, of course, to talk about our future plans for the country. Relationship is growing very fast, much faster than actually we thought historically. And we are a country that has, as I said, no colonial history here. We are perceived as very much neutral. We have positive history, we said before, with our Cambodian fathers and what actually they brought into the country in terms of education and health. We are selecting now more and more through Italian trade agencies new companies to work with. We welcome startups. As I said before, we will continue that program in terms of developing these capacities. You will be amazed by the creativity of Ugandan youth. They are incredible. They got ideas, they don't have resources. Future plans, we are also opening a new dimension now with a new cooperation with Kira Motors. President during the Independence Day celebrations in Kitgum was stressing how important it is being a little bit self-sufficient in some sector, creating with Ugandan actually ideas, Ugandan science and Ugandan talents, your own automotive industry. If you're part of that, we will bring parts of ambulances, which you need a little bit bigger and modern. They will be assembled in the country in the Italian big old style ambulances, and they will be very efficient and very effective in saving lives in any condition in the country. So that's another thing that we're thinking about. But these couldn't exist without a partnership with the government of Uganda. And it's impossible to talk about a partnership with the government of Uganda, and I have many friends here in Uganda from the government, a very good personal relationship, but you cannot avoid mentioning His Excellency the President. Of course, 37 years of uninterrupted development of the economy of the country, of the society, is bearing its fruits. It will take some time more to the whole path towards the middle income status and all those sectors that can be developed. My appeal, as we are under the leadership of a great man as His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is to continue what he's doing, fighting corruption and supporting meritocracy. Meritocracy is everything in every society. It brings in the country, it brings in the society, it brings in the economy the best talents, the most skilled people. So fighting corruption is one of the key factors, not only in Uganda, all over the world. So we hope that we will continue in this way. So let me, of course, we received recently a message from the President of the Republic of Italy to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and he was supporting him in the growth, in the stabilization of the region itself. But let me, of course, not forget to thank UBC for bringing the perspective of ambassadors in the country. We are the one working here with you every day. We live here in the country with you. We feel part of the society even more and more. This is home for me, and I want that this perspective, this capacity of living within your society in a fusion way, like I mentioned before on the culinary side, being together in a fusion system, be part of the growth and the future of the country. Thank you again, the Journey Program. Thank you, UBC.
The Journey program on UBC TV was brought to you by Plascon. Color your world.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.